welcome.
So did you watch the fights? You watched the fights. I lost.
Oh my God,
I lost the
dude.
bet, didn't I? Askew.
Bet.
I lost.
Askew.
You heard that?
Shit, man. Oh,
Did you
dude,
hear
my
that?
God,
With
Buffer
Oh
killed it.
my God.
Ben Askew.
I laughed out loud. And then when the camera like looks over at Askew's face, and it's just like, Askren. Oh my God, that was the funniest thing in my life. Ben Askew.
I've been asked you that before.
It kind of like, it literally just nutshelled the whole evening for him. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Who was he?
man.
I don't know. Why was he there? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing. Technically, Ben Askren didn't lose. Ben Askew lost.
Right? Ben Askren.
That's all I'm
lost,
saying.
that's
Ben
right.
Askew lost. Don't make me
He's
ask
now
you
0-1.
That's all I'm saying. I saw a quote. It was like, somewhere in an alternative reality, Ben Askew is actually a dominant champion, and just didn't get his hands out there.
Didn't get his hands out there.
I
you
said
know
it,
what?
man.
Honestly, there wasn't a loser in that fight, in my opinion. People are saying it didn't last long enough. Ben folded and he fell. What do you think? I don't think he fell on purpose.
No,
Like, I don't think he
that
caved.
he was paid off. There's zero chance. You don't take a punch like that. If anybody was paid off, it was that shitty ass old ass ref who should have been
Right.
fucking in a hospice home. That motherfucker looked hit. I don't understand it, man. Like,
That's boxing
for one,
for you, though, isn't it?
Well, and especially in Atlanta. I believe they were in Georgia. Georgia's boxing commission has never been solid. Like, in all the years I've been watching boxing, I've always been like, who the fuck is this ref? Who the fuck are these judges? I've never heard of them in all my years, ever. And I think it's because they're just cheap. I don't know.
Yeah.
Georgia's not doing it right. Shout out to Georgia on other things, but definitely not on boxing.
Or the
Because
ref.
you guys fucking
Officiating.
suck. Like,
Well,
Jesus
honestly,
Christ.
looking at that fight, a lot of people saying that Ben was paid
Ask
off.
you, man.
I don't think so. We're talking about a world champion athlete. You know, this is someone who has competed his entire life, and for him to just give up his name and just fold like that, I honestly don't think it was like. I think, when you take a knee to the temple, as you did with Masvidal in the first flash seconds of his fight with him, that's gonna do things to you. Ben is known for being able to take a punch. That's part of the reason he can't take a punch anymore. That one serious damage has occurred to the head, and that KO by Masvidal though. Oh,
That was
knee to the head.
brutal.
Oh, and then that
I did
follow
say
up.
I loved it. It was totally
Boom.
necessary.
Oh,
It was super necessary.
What, the follow up or the knee?
No, just Masvidal's quotes. Super necessary.
Oh, super necessary. Right.
It
That
was.
super
It was
necessary.
very
Right.
much so. And I really dig, that kind of shit. Don't get me wrong. I like the knockouts. I'm into the good finishes. But at the same time, it really bothers me when you've got a scenario like this where he wasn't out. Yeah, he landed on his face. But he got up with his awkward little goofy, squirrely kind of 1930s style.
His Askew style.
The ask you style, you know what I'm saying? And then the referee asked him a question, He's like, let me ask you good? But then he stopped because Paul came running up. And he was like, hey, you get back in the corner. And then he came back, grabbed his gloves, and then waved it off. So
Right. Yeah.
standing 8 count,
I
walk
don't
towards
know.
me.
We we're very similar in age. When I've watched the evolution of the Ultimate Fighter, UFC and MMA in general, and I remember a day when the athletes' priorities or best interests were not taken into consideration. It was about fighting and it was about money, and athletes could literally have limbs hanging off, and there would not be a stop to the fight. It's the times have changed. It's like the athlete is the prize. The athlete is the asset now, and it's like you need to maintain their health at all costs. And when I saw Askew get up, and like, yes, he's done that wobble before, but I don't know. I don't disagree with the stoppage. I don't disagree. I think it was a good stop. When the ref's got to ask in that flash second, the ref's got to look into the eyes of Askew, look at how hungry Paul was, and be like, no, this is done. You're
This
done.
young boy's
You're
gonna
done.
kill him.
He's gonna kill him. And I think because of that, Ben won that fight. He netted 500,000 plus just in what was it? Just in the pre
Just to walk in.
just to walk in, get the pre-bag, and then not to mention how many 1.2 million pay-per-view buys.
1.5 it's looking like. They're competing with McGruber.
1.5 million pay-per-view buys. Not to mention Paul has ownership in who is it? that
Oh,
put
now
on
he's
the
got
fight?
stake in
Fight?
Triller?
Triller. Yep.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So
yeah.
it was a win-win for him. But I don't think
Wow.
Ben lost that one. You know, I think Ben nobody
Well,
wants to be knocked
technically.
the fuck out.
Technically,
But,
yeah, it was. I mean, it's super
His family's
painfully
happy for
embarrassing.
him, man. His family's happy. Yeah, embarrassing. Yes and no. Yes and no. But it's like this should be the end for him. This should be the end for him.
Embarrassing? He got knocked out by Jake.
I think
he. So I watched the interview with Ariel Helwani that he had just recently. Maybe it was yesterday. Maybe it was today. I don't know. I got pretty fucked up yesterday. Just super.
It was 420 yesterday.
And it's
for those of
420.
you that are
Yeah,
watching this later.
You know, pretty
And
fucking
wow, what a
lit.
day. That
Yeah,
was crazy.
totally
day.
tight.
That's
If you
all
missed
our
it, make sure you
conversation.
check out that live stream, man. Whew, CLTV, baby.
It was
But-
nonstop from beginning to end that whole day. Just go.
Fuck
It's supposed to be
yeah.
a day of relaxation.
Nope, instead a day of stress. But
Anyways,
with his style, I'd have to say when you're looking at somebody like Ben Askren, he's not very like dominating in the sense of like, holy shit, he's a beast. It's like, yeah, he won. He wrestle fucked them. He did his thing, but usually it's like he scrambles to get that shit. He scrambles. But in this case, you've got him going in and just getting starched. 2 times now he's gotten starched. So
I feel
just-
like there was a lot more embarrassment,
and it's
from
young kids
Masvidal.
too, though. But it was young. See, the difference is in the Masvidal fight, you've got Masvidal. I'm from Michigan. What do you say? The Masvidal fight, it was like he's in the UFC though. Like this is like, all right, it can happen. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
He's boxing against a fucking 24-year-old YouTuber.
Oh,
And
I
again,
get it.
it doesn't
I
make
get it.
sense. But he even
I
said
just
he
think
was like,
for-
I don't know which one's more embarrassing. He said it's the only reason I was considering not doing it is the what ifs and how embarrassing it could be. And
Right,
here it is.
right,
And,
right, and that's the whole essence behind these fights. This is the only reason, aside from health, why you would not get involved with this. And we kind of talked about this with the Mayweather fighting Logan Paul. Why would you even? And once you step into the ring, anything is possible. Why would you even put your name on the line for that to be an opportunity? Especially a guy like Mayweather who's 50-0, you know? And
Yeah.
like, why would you even make that a variable? So with Askew going into the ring with Paul, he made it a variable. He made it a variable.
Well, he's 19-2, had a great record really going in. I honestly think it tarnished him.
Right, well, it did. It did. And this is where it's like he takes his bag, takes it home to his family, and he just stops. You know, he's still doing interviews. I'm seeing him everywhere. People are still talking to him. It's not like his career's dead. Like, you know what I mean? He's still a personality, but he needs to stop. He needs to stop, stay out of the ring, focus on his health, focus on his family, and that's what a lot of fighters just need to come to that realization of when you're done, you're done. Take your bag and go home.
Dude, on a worse note, one that made that look like a happy moment. How about the fucking concert that was going on during the goddamn fight? Like, what the fuck was
I couldn't
going?
stand it.
I'm watching simulcast. Basically, I've got not simulcast. Simultaneously, I've got one screen that I'm watching the fights. Okay, Robert Whitaker and Calvin Gastelum, UFC.
Yep.
The fights.
Yep.
Other one I'm watching celebrity boxing, and so my boy Frank Mir comes in. He looks okay. Cunningham obviously pieces him up. He does his thing. He looks okay. De La Hoya is blowed the fuck out. I don't know if it was drunk, coke. I know he loves coke.
A combination.
Some weed, whatever. He was fucking lit. But then after that, it's literally just concert, and it doesn't even fit. What did fit, I would say the West Coast shit that fit. I saw my boy Short Dog in that motherfucker.
Snoop was
E40,
up there making a wreck.
You know what I'm saying? Snoop, Ice Cube, that was cool.
A lot of fillers. It was a lot of
So
fillers.
much, and then
And,
Bieber and fucking
like
Doja Cat and like
how much would that have cost, man?
millions.
Why wouldn't you put people on a card? Why wouldn't you have at least the UFC is going to just put, they're going to fill the card. You know, you got 3 hours of fights. We're going to give you 3 hours of fights. You know, it might end up being 2.5 because based on whatever outcome happens. But the reality is like you had between the boxing, there was 8 minutes of fights. No. It was a little bit longer than that. The Mir went the distance.
yeah, and then the other
and
fight was
the
a
one
ghost
before
shot
that.
to the hip that was a low blow. I
Right.
guess.
Was it? Was it a
Fuck
low
no,
blow?
it wasn't a
sure
low
did
blow.
not
That
look
dude
low.
was just scared and wanted to get out of there, and he
Pussy!
thought maybe it would have been a disqualification, and it wasn't.
No, and he
Got
goes.
pulled
He
out on a
leaves on
stretcher.
What?
Fucking clown.
Like, we're not
Oh
watching
my
European
God.
football, are we? Like, this is nuts. And then so it's like, not to mention that whole scene took up 20 minutes, 15,
Yeah.
20 minutes. Like they like, wow. And that was like a moment, you know, in the
Yeah,
in
dude,
the,
like,
in the show.
fuck
It
off
was
with
very
that shit.
poorly. It was very poorly put
The
together.
production,
Yeah, you
like-
had the production aside, like, production was great. In
Yeah, it
fairness,
looked
you know,
nice, but
quality
it
was
wasn't
great.
there.
You had names there. It was music. It
Slap
looked like it was
boxing.
recorded in some back warehouse in some East End. Like, I was like, you're telling me you've got one of the biggest fights, almost in all time, in terms of hype, and it's like you're in a warehouse. You're in a warehouse, and everything was black. It was dark. It was like, you know, when you start the show, you want it to be lit up. You want it to be like exciting,
The
pumping,
vibe, you know?
you want to get everybody really going. Now, granted, pandemic and shit is what it is. You know, you can't have that as capacity, but you could still have a good. It just looked really lackluster in terms of, well, it as a viewer on TV, it was like, this is not what I signed up for.
Well, and even my woman who's watching it, she's like, another fucking song at this weird industrial thing. I was like, yeah, like 9 Inch Nails could play here, or
Right?
like fucking
Yeah,
Marilyn
yeah.
Manson
Linkin
or something.
Park.
Like, yeah, like that kind of shit. But
Right?
all of a sudden,
They
like,
got Bieber, and
it was weird. And like, again, great performances if you're into those kind of fucking
Sure,
performers.
there's nothing wrong
great.
with the performance.
But it didn't make sense. It was fucking irrelevant. It was irrelevant. You hear Jimmy Fallon in the back screaming. We as future guests, we have him hanging out in the green room, just
He's
chilling. You know,
taking care
he's
of
in the
kids
back.
and
You know,
We'll have
but
Jimmy soon.
soon. But the main thing is when you look at the embarrassment of the shit show that was, of what it could have been. Like, they did way better on the Tyson Jones.
Oh,
one.
that was that.
way
See, again,
better.
I enjoyed those fights. I
Yeah.
enjoyed that. I didn't get into this.
The
thinking
undercard
that
was
one
straight.
man was gonna just annihilate another man. So I know a lot of people were disappointed. They thought it was like, oh, watching two grandfathers just fight. Well, you
That
were.
was a great fucking
You
fight,
were,
though. I enjoyed it,
and it
man.
wasn't. It was a great fight. And at the end of the fight, you had two champions walk out. You know what I mean? I thought that was a great fight. There was entertainment in that one as well in terms of performances, but maybe it's because the rounds went on longer. That you
Well,
know, you
that
had
and again, that
less
more
music.
competitively matched. Like, even if, let's say, so hypothetically, the whole fucking Paul boy ends up going, Paulie Shore gets another boxing match. It's not going to be against a boxer. It's going to be against potentially Dylan
celebrity.
Dennis, who's a fucking grappler,
right.
or another MMA fighter who's subpar at striking. And Jake's got hands. I don't give a fuck what anybody wants to say. He's got hands. He's purely training straight boxing for some years now. If you don't get good at that, you're a garbage can as a human. Period. For
Put in
years.
the work. Put in the
You
work.
put in the fucking work. You'll learn the technique. You're gonna get good.
And
It
you can
doesn't matter
see
who
that
you
he's
are.
got. You can see it in his form.
And
in
he's
his
young
strike.
as fuck still, dude.
He's got
So
some
he's
fire. But the guy that knocks him out, well, has a career in whatever they
Exactly.
want.
but
Social
they're
media.
strategically picking him out very, very consciously on who he's gonna
Right.
fight.
Right, of course.
And the funny thing is,
Of
the
course.
MMA fighters he calls out, you notice he never calls out a middleweight or higher.
Right.
He was
Right.
190 fucking pounds. He's calling out 170 or lower every single
Yeah.
time. It's like, what?
Yeah. Well,
Askew
he's
is a
taking them-
170 fighter. He came in looking like
He's
somebody's
taken them
stepdad.
out. He's taken them out of their element while he is becoming or gaining as an element. You know what I mean? That's his bread and butter. It's becoming his bread and butter, and he's pulling people out that don't box. And here's the outcome. Askew